Horvath.
Yeah, I agree with Matt too. Well, both Matts. uh, yeah, that the majority of our teachers are doing a great job, and it's to me it's sad to hear that it's been like taken to this level. Um, with the bargaining, instead of like a collaborative effort from everyone. It is new for everyone, and we all need to do things that are new to us. And it's a learning curve for everyone, but that part makes me sad and disappointed, to hear that it was taken, to that level. So I hope that whatever comes of that, that both sides can see truly what's in the best interest for students. And I hope that teachers who are worried about doing live teaching or something like that can see that it really is best for them. And like Rick kind of referred to earlier, like we don't want um, an online, we're not having our students get like some sort of online degree with no face-to-face interaction with teachers. It just has to happen in some way. So if we can have those expectations for all teachers, some sort of minimum that we can adhere to, and then of course, like you're talking about, the outstanding teachers who are going above and beyond, like that's amazing, and hopefully they can share with their colleagues what they're doing. And especially if the teachers who do have kids of their own at home, like obviously I'm sure that that's to deal with. I don't have experience with that. So if teachers are able to do that, who do have kids at home, how can they share their practices and their advice to other teachers who have their own kids at home too, so that everyone can feel comfortable? So I hope that that's resolved soon, and that we can all work together and realize what's in the best interest of students.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate your
you.
comments, Ms. Crawford. I think don't be saddened. All districts, including Redondo Beach, have entered MOUs, and I think it's really just about a way of setting those expectations. I think there's mutual interest in setting clearer expectations around the instructional piece. So I think I'm encouraged by that. I'm encouraged by the collaboration that's taking place with our teachers and among our teachers and administrators. And I think we've got some work to do, certainly, but these are interesting times, and we'll figure it out. And I think obviously we'll do what's in the best interest of our students.
Yes. Thank you.
For sure.
Okay, is there any other comments for Dr. Horvath? No. Okay, so I believe that will wrap up Dr. Chernus's report. Dr. Chernus, do you want to say anything in conclusion, or is there anything else to add? You're good?
Trent, do you have anything?
Yeah, just a couple things I want to touch base on. First of all, with our communications, I just want to remind both staff and our community to please, I know you're probably overwhelmed with emails right now, but we are just encourage folks to several things they can do. Check email, check our district website, our school websites. I know our principals and teachers are adding things daily. Also, our social media are at PVP Schools Twitter account. We've also tried to keep adding more information for our parents about school closures, everything from updates and information regarding the COVID-19, as well as instructional resources that Dr. Gotanda mentioned earlier, things like things for parents as well as for students. We also shared some information for our staff to help give them quick access to support and help. The other piece on communications, I want to make sure we thank our local partners. Our cities have been, Dr. Butler and I have been actively engaged with everything from text messages to email chains. Everyone has really stepped up in terms of sharing what their messages are to their communities, the different cities, as well as our county agencies. Dr. Chernus and the rest of the cabinet has actively participated in conference calls and meetings to get information, everything from health updates to how things are, what direction we're getting from the county. Our library district is another great partner of resources for everyone, so thank them also. In terms of
technology, as mentioned before, we have put together opportunities for families to check out a Chromebook. We're also working on getting some hotspots, mobile hotspots for, we have some families that have challenges. One of the things that we're finding, I think, as we shifted to this online remote learning is that there's a lot of things that have come up, that some unintended challenges. For example, families that have multiple folks working at home, parents, siblings, kids home from college. The bandwidth that everyone is using at their house is really getting pressed for, everyone has their demands. So the same thing with, video conferencing. Some of our, families are having some challenges with, internet access and bandwidth. So we're trying to share information. We would encourage any families that have challenges to please reach out to their schools, to us to see how we can assist them. One thing, what we would recommend is anytime that people have asked for help, if they could leave us a phone number with an email, when they email or they call, our help desk is staffed. We have people working many hours of the day to try and respond in a very timely fashion to them. So a lot of times it's just a call back that can help them. So please, if you have any questions about that, feel free to reach out and we can provide assistance. The other thing is, I just want to mention is about enrollment. I know during the school closure, a lot of people have questions about how enrollment proceeds. The enrollment center physically is not open, but virtually people that are looking to or in process of moving here or relocating for this school year, we are still processing those enrollments to get those kids in school and into classes, and working with our principals and teachers to make sure that those students have learning opportunities. Along with, besides that, any enrollment for next year for the 2021 school year is still proceeding. So if families are have questions or need assistance, please reach out and our team will help them with that. And finally, the permit process and the lottery process that we have going on are still operating and working. So if anyone has any questions, that to reach out and we'll be able to provide assistance for them. And then just finally, I'd like to echo what everyone else has said in terms of recognizing and thanking our principals, our teachers, and also important to remember that there's a lot of people behind the scenes that a lot of times people aren't aware of. And so those folks, everyone from our payroll to our tech support staff to custodians, maintenance, operations, really keeping things going for us. So we just want to recognize and express our thanks to them. So and if there's any questions, let me know. Thanks.
I have one question. So I've heard from some teachers, but also just online, I'm seeing that there are some issues with Zoom, maybe with people hijacking it, I guess, in a way, and being inappropriate. Is there a way that, from your tech side, to help that or help teachers in some way avoid people coming in?
I think that, like was mentioned earlier, a lot of our staff has really stepped up in trying to really jump on this in terms of providing learning opportunities for students. But with that, there's always some challenges and some unknowns. And I think we're starting to see some of those concerns about privacy, about security, about some of the things you mentioned, Ms. Crawford. So we're currently working on developing some strategies and some kind of how-to guides step-by-step for teachers in terms of how to create those settings, how to manage chats, how to manage keeping things private and secure so we don't have outside folks coming into our conversations and video conferences. So that's definitely something our team has already been working on, our instructional coaches and the tech support staff. So we'll be pushing that out to all of our staff, and so that parents can also have access to know how to, what the best practices are for that. Also in regard to something Dr. Horvath mentioned was the opportunities for online collaboration and learning and professional development is something that a lot of our folks have asked about. So it's pretty exciting that there's some opportunities that a lot of our teachers have really stepped up and been participating in some of those trainings and workshops, and even our classified folks have reached out about that. So I think we're going to continue to expand upon that and provide some learning opportunities for those that are interested.
And then can I jump in really quick too? So we also we're putting together some district-wide expectations. So at the beginning of the school year, the kids do sign like a use agreement of when they're on the internet at school. And so we are basically going to reset to make sure that everybody understands what's expected of them when they're in an online environment. So in addition to helping the teachers manage those controls, you might have seen on the news, USC had a couple of, they call them like Zoom bombers or something like that. And so they've already put something out to kind of really be explicit with instructors on how they can kind of pare that down. But I also think sharing expectations with students and parents is going to be important as we move into, more face-to-face interactions with kids.
Great. Oh, go ahead, Matt.
So, do we have any plans for the synchronous aspect as that moves forward, ensuring that our teachers do have the bandwidth from home, or providing them with even whatever's necessary so that they can do this? Have we done any kind of survey to find out what our teachers have and don't have, and making sure that we've equipped them with what they need?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that's something that what we're discovering is that some of our folks, we're not hearing a lot of that, but what we're trying to share with our principals is that if teachers are having any technology challenges or access challenges, we want to see how we can reach out to help them being able to access the technology to provide them support, anything along those lines that is needed. So we will be continuing to follow up with them on that. But I think looking further down the road, long term, I think there'll be definitely some opportunities to have some discussion in terms of making sure that we have the right resources that our instructional staff needs to do for both in-class and remote learning opportunities. So there's definitely additional conversation, I think, and investigation we have to do.
Great. And then next thing is, you mentioned emails earlier and the inundation of emails. So I'll always stress please have clear subjects, right? Have the reason for your email in the subject, right? So that it's clear. And, if it's a call to action, make sure that you notify people that, they need to act on this email. If it's FYI, then it's just informational, right? But as you know, you get hundreds and hundreds of emails every day, and sometimes they don't all get read thoroughly if the subject doesn't make it seem important.
Yeah, those are great suggestions.
And then also just, we're talking about our teachers, seeing Mr. Garman working with a couple of his colleagues, really trying to get them, that extra little push for, Microsoft Teams and Zoom, so our teachers are doing a great job working together and dealing with, again, this difficult situation.
Yeah.
All right. Does anyone else have anything for Trent? Rick.
On the enrollment piece, what still needs to be done with a paper form or drop off versus what can be done online?
Traditionally, the process is like the two-step process, and the second phase of that is the residency verification documents. So we don't want to hold up anybody's enrollment, especially for current year. So we are working with those families, and what we do in terms of if there's any questions about document residency verification, we do what's conditional, where we want to get those kids into school right away for this current year. And the same thing with our folks for next year. They won't lose their place in line, but when we return, they'll be able to then come back and provide the actual residency verification documents in person that we require to validate that. So should not hold up anyone's processes for that.
Okay, so if they just do online, they'll be in line for whatever
Yes,
school it's
yeah, exactly. So they're basically, it's like a digital timestamp of when they complete those processes. And the staff has been reaching out to those families that have had questions, or we also post information on that. So we want to make sure that families are comfortable and can complete their processes.
Okay, thanks.
Sure.
Okay, so if we have no more comments or questions, Dr. Turnus, okay. So then we can move on to J, report of board members. And let's start with Matt. Do you have anything?
I'll mute myself then. I have a great appreciation for everything that all the people in our district are doing, from the custodians to the superintendent, teachers, principals. Everybody is really stepping in, and they're trying to make the best of the situation. So a tremendous amount of gratitude for them, and to parents for being understanding, and for students who are always so willing to adapt, right? And that's the most amazing thing, just the resiliency and the way that they adapt. To them, this is going to be easy and a norm, where the rest of us are going, what the heck are we doing? So I would just want to best wishes for John Krushank and Susan Brooks, former mayor of Rancho Palos Verdes, who was posted that they had COVID-19. Hoping them a speedy recovery. Looking forward to seeing them out and about again. And again, thank you to everybody, as we don't know when this is going to be over. We just need to make sure that we are communicating with our parents, with our community, as much as we possibly can, so that they have an understanding and a little bit of certainty in this uncertain time. And when we know we're going to do something, to share that, so that they at least, know that something is coming up. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, Megan, did you want to go next?
I echo everything that Matt just said. It's scary time for everyone. I feel like parents, kids, students in the world, and it's changing daily and hourly. But what I care about is, kids' mental health. So I want to make sure that we're bringing them some normalcy with the curriculum, but that we don't hold them to too high an expectation. How can we also let them learn with just like day-to-day actions? I think Suzanne kind of brought that up. Like, kids are learning at home, doing other things. So I guess, how can we bring that balance, with them learning online with teachers, but also just balancing their mental health as well. So I know it's changing every day, but I think we're doing a lot of things right, and I just look forward to the updates that happen soon. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Linda.
Just a couple things. I had some parents ask some questions, so I thought I would try to be able to just kind of share what their concerns were overall. And I also, Suzanne let me attend a podcast that Dr. Kuykendall and Dr. Tyner did last week with some high school students, and it was really interesting to see what their questions were. There's a lot of anxiety out there, especially among our high school sophomores and juniors, especially. And kids wanted to know, would they be penalized in their grades if they couldn't access a synchronous learning opportunity? And both the principals said, no, of course not, that we're checking with you to make sure what the reasons are for that. But that was a big thing for them. And then the ones that are putting in all the work, how do they benefit from that when they're shining stars and they're not able to show that? The podcast is on the PV Panorama website if people want to take a look at some of those questions. Matthew took the words out of my mouth about 100% of the time tonight, asking and stating his ideas exactly what I was going to say, so I didn't really have too much to say in that regard. I think one thing I've heard a lot from parents is who aren't getting synchronous learning, which is a phrase I didn't know till last week, is why and how can they get that? And the message from our principals is be a little patient with us. Give us a little time, but that is the expectation that all kids will get that, because what's best for kids, they need that communication. Your fourth graders need to be able to look at their classmates and their teachers and see that. So be a little patient with us, but then let us know if that's not happening and you have concerns, and we can pass those along as board members. And then the last thing was I had a email from Joanne Lewis, who runs the career college and career center at PV High, and she said she and Mrs. Arico, her colleague at Peninsula, are available to all of our seniors and juniors who have a lot of questions. They are thinking that waiting lists are going to be really, really big at a lot of these elite schools. There's a lot of opportunity for students to still apply for some schools as seniors, because it's just such a flux kind of a year. But she's got a lot of virtual appointments available. She's got info and updates available. And she said she's also available to address the board if we want to later in a month or so, and have her answer some questions that some of our students have. So I wanted to pass that along as well, and echo what everyone said, which is thank you, thank you, thank you. We are blessed to have these people on my Brady Bunch screen right now, my 4 colleagues in our cabinet and Dr. Chernus. These are people with a lot of experience, and our parents are so lucky to have these people setting the tone for our school district. And I'm grateful to all of you. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And Rick, did you have anything?
I'll echo what all of my colleagues have said. I mean, I really think that the staff and the district administration has pulled together, and the community has pulled together. It's clearly a time of crisis across the world, not just our community, but it really is a global crisis. One of the benefits I've seen is that there does seem to be an uptick in kindness around the community. I see, I get waved at a lot more if I drive past somebody or walking around 6 feet away from anybody else. And so, thank you, Linda, for the wave. But I think that is one of the benefits, and there are a lot of efforts in the community. Linda's spearheading one. PV cares to make sure that people are supported who need the support and can't go out. So, it's important that we take care of our families and also the rest of the community, and that we all stay safe. Please don't go to the hospital ER unless you have to, because that really is a critical issue in this time. I think it's important that we all remember in how we adapt to this, that we do have to meet the needs of the kids, and they're going to be different at each of the levels, but that we are finding a way to meet the kids' needs, and that we need to remember that that's really the mission we have in the district, and that we can collaborate to figure out how to do it the best way. And I think we're doing a pretty good job of that. I think we're all learning a lot about Zoom. I haven't used Teams, but about Zoom, at least in terms of doing these video conferences. And even in the business world, there's more work being done on video conferences now than even on the telephone conferences. It seems like it may change the way that we all approach work. And then finally, I still am doing my Zoom coffee now. I did do one this Sunday and actually had an attendee, but more than one attendee at my next Zoom coffee on April 5th, 10 a.m. And, I put that link out and all on my Coffees with a School Board Member on my Twitter account, which is Rick, R-I-C-K, 4 PV. So please stay safe and take care of your family needs.
Thank you, Rick. Okay, so I guess my report will end our evening, and I do appreciate the effort that it took for all of our staff to make this meeting happen. We had the option of having the meeting be 100% virtual, but I think this made more sense that Dr. Chernus and I are sitting more than 6 feet away, and we're the only people in this room, and everybody else is virtual, and everyone made it work, and I appreciate that. So I'm happy that we were able to record it so that our families and our teachers and community can watch this meeting live, but also that they can watch it in the future if they want to see what we talked about at this meeting. So appreciate all of the work from everybody. A couple of things though. So our kids, we found a few meetings back, needed to be sleeping more. And one positive thing about perhaps this situation that we have now is that all of our kids should be able to get more sleep. So I encourage our parents to see if their kids are sleeping more and what are they actually doing, between those hours of say, 10 p.m. and 6 or 7 a.m. So I hope that people appreciate the opportunity to sleep. I can say that much of what was said tonight, I agree with. I do have to say that I have 2 kids at home doing online work, and I'm trying to work from home. And the challenges of, the Cox bandwidth is huge. And so I want our kids to have opportunities at least an hour a day with our teachers online. But I also understand that we have to share sometimes at the house, at our homes, because we can't all be doing something at the same time. We actually laughed that we all 3 can't be on Zoom. So at the same time. So I think that there are challenges that we're all working through. And I know our teachers, I know our kids miss school, and our kids really miss their friends and they really miss their teachers. So I don't think that the checking in is a waste of time. I think it's so important. I also think the instruction piece is important, but I think that I think it was Rick who was saying that people are a little bit more friendly. And honestly, everywhere you go, if you're out walking, getting exercise, everybody is saying hi to everybody because we're trying to stay more connected. So I do think the an hour a day instruction with our teachers are going to provide is so important because some of our kids aren't really getting those opportunities, especially our kids that have parents that are really trying to juggle work from home. It isn't easy. And I think we all appreciate that. And I think most workplaces appreciate that you're going to have kids in the background when you're on conference calls now. And we just do the best we can do. That's really all we can, that's all we can do. So I appreciate all of our teachers and all of our parents and certainly all of our kids. And at least for me, I would love to be able to attend some of the Zoom classes as a visitor, if that's appropriate. I don't know if we can do that, but I would be very open to jumping in a classroom and seeing how it goes besides watching my kids. So feel free to invite myself or anybody on the board. I'm sure we'd be happy to. Maybe it'd be more fun to be in elementary school Zoom classes than high school. I don't know, but I think we're all in this together, and I think the more we support each other and have appreciation for how complicated and difficult this is, then the better off we are. And honestly, if we're all healthy and we're all here and we're not sick, then we know we're all really ahead of the game, and we need to really appreciate that. So I think that is it for me. Yeah. All right. So the meeting is, let's see, what time is it? We will be adjourned at 8 p.m. Thank you. Thanks,
All right,
guys.
good night,
That
everybody.
seemed pretty